You can say, look, you learn more from your failures than from your successes.
Specifically,
in some ways, this has some resonance with it.
I love food. Actually, I love it so much, I just had some not too long ago. Joke aside, I bet it is a safe bet to say that you all love food. And not just that, we depend on it. It is the very basic of human needs. With all its importance, in my belief, the industry, for the most part, is doing a terrible job at producing healthy food, especially in a sustainable way. Within the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you my vision of food and beverage production, but also what I mean and how big and many facets food and beverage production play in our lives and in our world. I live in Germany now, but I used to live in the United States and love to go with my kids to amusement parks. As you can see here, back then, I used to be a lot bigger. No, I'm not Buzz Lightyear. I'm the one wearing the white hat. Now, I told you I love food. Well, as you can see, it loved me back. The difference between then and now is that now I just love healthy food. This whole thing is a very wicked problem and has many, many facets. And only by working together can we solve all the issues that are surrounding this. In March of this year, my wife Anya and I took a trip through California in conjunction with our attendance of the Natural Products Expo West in Anaheim, California, looking for healthy food that was produced in a sustainable way. We were excited and hopeful to see what new things were coming out, what products in the industry, and how the industry in whole was developing. My main takeaway from this expo, one of the largest in the world, was a lot different than I had hoped for. This whole trip turned out to be a lot different than I had hoped for. All the products at the expo had sugars, sweeteners, preservatives, aromas, fillers, and probably 20 other things I could list. They were not produced in a sustainable way, and they did not use recyclable packaging. I came away with the expo, or I left the expo, with some good ideas of what the world needs, as well as some great partners that I met who also share in this vision with me. I personally believe in hydration and hydrating the body, keeping fluids going through, which has many great benefits, but also the need to frequently visit the restroom. This is when my first epiphany or my first noticeable difference on this trip occurred. All of the public restrooms that I visited along this trip had red sharps containers. These sharps containers are for syringes and medical waste. But there is a reason why they are showing up more and more in public places, especially amusement parks, expos, and so on. There are 347 million reasons because there are that many diabetics in the world. There are 500 million people in the world who have obesity-related disorders, and 235 million people in the world that have asthma. We have a simultaneous epidemic of obesity and starvation. I don't know if anybody has put the two together, but if you have the solution or can tell me why, I would sure like to know. How can we have obesity and starvation in the same world? We are sick and we are suffering, as well as our health agriculture, and the industry, especially the industry of food production, which is still in the Industrial Revolution. We left Los Angeles and continued our trip through the Central Valley along Interstate 5 to San Francisco, which is a 311-mile stretch of highway. The Central Valley contains lots of farmland, natural products, plenty of groves. But this is what we saw. We noticed something different on this trip. It is not allowed to advertise with billboards or any other media along Interstate 5. It's a law. But yet this is what we saw. A crisis. Farmers, agriculturists, activists making us aware that there is a problem. This is not something new. Along the Central Valley, we have known about the drought, and there has been drought awareness since 2006. Yet, farmers dig deeper wells and continue to use water resources. It is sad what is occurring in this area and what this drought is causing for our environment and climate and global changes. A little bit more down the road on this trip, a little more than halfway on the Central Valley, I was hit in the face with a stench of pure manure that choked me up. I almost wanted to vomit. About 3 minutes after the smell appeared, I saw this. The smell lingered in the car for hours, in my clothes for hours, but will linger in my memory and remain there forever. I came to my senses and I Googled and found out that so many people have passed this area that they went to Google and tagged it and left their comments and named it Cowschwitz. It's not the name of the spot, but that's what they've named it, and left their comments of their own experiences as they've passed this. You can see from the cloudiness of the picture that this smell is not something that I only experience. This occurs every single day. And it's not just a smell. It is dirty emissions. These dirty emissions affect our health. They affect our air, our water, and our climate. This area, the Central Valley, not only has farmlands, natural crops, beef. Cowschwitz that we just saw is licensed to hold 100,000 head of cattle a day, and every year they produce 150 million pounds of beef. This is a chart to kind of show you the efficiency of water in food and beverage production. For 1 pound of beef, it is 2,100 gallons or 8,000 liters for 1 pound of beef. 2 almonds is 2 gallons. This is absurd. The imbalance of water, greenhouse gases that is occurring in our world in food production is out of control. The energy used, the greenhouse gases, the water, they all go into food production. And we're running out of resources. We need to be more efficient and figure out the imbalance. This kind of ends my trip, but the trip is not completed yet because there's another aspect that I want to talk about, and that is food waste. In the United States, in the world, 30% of all food that is produced in a production facility is wasted. That means it never makes it to a plate and is thrown out in the garbage. 100% wasted. We just saw on the slide prior how much water goes into production. So now we've not only wasted that water, but we've wasted the farmer's time, the marketing time, the processing, the logistics, all the other natural processes that go into food production. This waste is out of control. The way we can reduce the waste is by using our energy, or being efficient with water, and I want to tell you who the primary offenders are of food waste. Gastronomy, grocery, and consumers who don't want to buy ugly food. Just because a fruit is ugly does not mean that it cannot be eaten. Just because there's an expiration date on it does not mean that it can not be eaten. All these problems aside, drought, water resources in general, the imbalance of use of our resources in food production, as well as food waste, these are just all facets. I believe in human kindness and human goodness and the goodness of us all. And we are at a time of exponential growth and change in our world. There are a lot of positive things happening. For example, this year is the world-famous World Expo in Milan, Italy, and it carries the theme, Feeding the Planet, Energy for Life, displaying food innovations and solutions for how we can feed 9 billion people by the year 2050. Also, this coming November, next month, is COP21. It's taken us 21 times to discuss climate change, but now we're bringing the world together in France for immediate action on climate change. The food and beverage industry is part of every one of our basic needs and fills a very important role in our lives. Therefore, my vision and my dream is to change and turn the current food and beverage production industry on its head and change how we produce food. I have an example that I like to think of with my kids and the tours of a modern day healthy Willy Wonka factory, except without all the environmental problems and safety issues. And actually thinking about that, all the sugar and secrecy, maybe I should strike that. Maybe we don't want to do the Willy Wonka example. What we want to do is have a transparent, open system. The current production that we have is with smokestacks, it's very secretive. You don't know what's going into your product. They do not grow exclusively with rainwater. They're not CO2 neutral. They do not have a net energy balance of net zero. And this is what we want to turn on its head by using technology, innovation, and renewable energy, and resource recycling, not only rainwater, water, but our energy that we use from renewable sources, and saving them to Tesla power packs. That is my vision. But also having a transparent and open system where every day we can give tours and samples and show people our facility and how we produce and how things are done. We also want to use a complete water management system where we recycle to 100% rainwater, we filter our groundwater with reverse osmosis, we recycle our gray water and our black water, and we reduce the imbalance in water use, period, in certain products. We also want to use 100% rainwater in our vertical farming system to save on space, energy, using all the machines in our facility off of renewable energy, solar, wind, sun power, to process our whole facility. It is a truly green system, and I hope that you will join me in my vision to change the food and beverage industry in your own way. I would ask entrepreneurs, businesses small and big, no matter how small or how big your effort, we all have the need for food. And this food costs us something. I would ask that you take the money that you would normally give to someone and only invest it in those who care about your health and your home and your future, and not those that provide you with sugar water and unsustainable products. Thank you.